what have we learned about economic governance from the pandemic?
First of all, thank to have the opportunity to discuss this issue. Sometimes it's not so much sexy, but it is a debate that we need to do. And I think that the main element to answer to your question is the Commission decided to activate the general escape clause during the pandemic, because it was clear that member states couldn't live with the current rules. So this is one element that I think that we need to have in mind when we discuss if we need or if you don't need to review the European fiscal rules. But as you said, and this is also very important on the debate, is the Commission had already started the public opinion debate in February 2020 because we needed to change the rules. We needed to change the rules, and we need to change the rules because it's clear, including before the pandemic, that rules were not responding to the economic and social demands. Rules are not clear, are very, very complex, because since they were adopted in Maastricht until now, they are more and more complex, because in a moment, everybody, political leaders, try to adapt and introduce new elements, and now, in the end of the day, the rules are very, very complex, and it's difficult for citizens to understand them. And I can say it's also difficult for politicians to understand the rules. So not only because the pandemic, but also because the pandemic put on the table the need to revise the fiscal rules.
Now that we are hopefully emerging from the pandemic, would you like to see the general escape clause extended? And if so, for how long? And maybe if you could say something about the other instruments that have been introduced, including joint bond issuance. That's meant to be a temporary contribution. Would you like to see that being used in the future?
Yes, the general escape clause, the orientation now, I think that the orientation is better, that decision now, is that general escape clause will be activated until the end of 2022. But it's clear that on 1st January 2023, it's impossible to put on the table all the rules exactly as they exist today, the current rules. First of all, the first problem is that now we have new instruments, and the European Union decided to create, I can say, innovative instruments like SURE, that is supporting jobs in member states, but also the Next Generation EU, that it is an European answer to the European economic recovery. So, and the first challenge is we need to give to member states capacity to use all the money. If we introduce the rules in 1st January 2023, it's impossible for some member states to use the money, because, as we know, the money, the Next Generation EU, the European Fund for the Economic Recovery, must be committed until end of 2023 and must be spent until the end of 2026. And member states with the current rules can't use the money. So what we need a the best scenario was to have new rules when the general escape clause will be deactivated. But I'm very pragmatic, and I know very well how complex and how much time decisions take. So I think that we need to have a transition period And during this transition period, member states must have an orientation for the new rules, the new rules book. And it's very important because the budgetary, the fiscal cycle will start in April, May 2022. It means that at that time, spring, European Commission must give fiscal orientation or orientations on fiscal policy at that moment. So if the best scenario is to have new rules, if you can't have new rules, we need to have a clear path for the member states to do the transition.
You are a social democrat, you're Portugal, it's one of the social democrat-led countries within the EU. Are you pleased that Germany is now likely to have an SPD-led coalition? And do you think it will help reach a consensus when there's more of a balanced approach?
The point is, will we have, or I wish? So this is different, but of course, this is a key point. Because first of all, the Parliament could adopt my report, this report. It's an initiative report. It's not a legislative report, we must say. But this report is ambitious enough, is clear enough, and we could, as European Parliament, in a plenary session, to vote in favor of this report. And with a very broad majority. It means we have some abstention in the left group, we have the right-wing parties vote in favor, the socialist group vote in favor. So we could, it was 1 year of work, but I need to say that we discussed a lot, as we imagine. We started with different positions, but we could find common positions, and I'm very happy because it was adopted with a large majority, and it's not a report, it's an ambitious report. So this is important because this is the position of the European Parliament. And when the Commission, the European Commission, will reopen the public debate on the revision of the fiscal rules, the Commission can be supported on the European Parliament's positions.